Season's greetings and welcome to the third of 4 episodes on Cassie's potting shed. It might be a bit boring for some of you, but it's took a long time to get all these clips put together and make it in some sort of sense. So I'll apologise now because I've tried to do them in little sections, some on the wall and some on the window and some on the door, and you'll probably see in the background it doesn't all sort of relate because I was dancing about from one bit of the project to the other. But I think by the end of it, it should all make sense. So I hope you enjoy it and we'll see you again. Just been to fetch some more bricks and some sand. I'll bring them down in a minute, but show you how far we've got on. I ain't got far to go up there for that one. Got to build that wall up and over the top of the glass there and down and fill that gap in there. And this morning I've had to disconnect my door rail because when you swing it, it starts hanging and catching on the windowsill there. So I'm hoping to move it across and refit it clear of the wall. And you can see the wall's a bit of a bow in it anyway, but it's about as good as it's going to get, I think. Right, just going to bring you up to date what we've done. On the top there, I've gone for some lightweight bricks to save me a bit of time, really. The top row wants cementing in, but the second one down here, so I've just got to fill between the beams there. I had to chop mess about there, but I did that yesterday because it's Sunday morning. I don't want to make a lot of noise bashing about, not too early, but mind you, it's 10 o'clock, so everyone's at church or going about their business. As you can see, this little window's already in and ready to go. I've just got to seal it in. This window frame, I've put the windowsill in, but it needs cementing in rather than saying putting in. That one's there ready for the glass to go in there, but I'm not going to put that in until the last bit, really. Coming back around this side, so I've got to do that today. The top there, I've got to build that up, this window up, and then across that one there for as far as it go, and then that's the construction side of it done. So I'm hoping today, to be able to get it all up across and that part finished off, and then the next thing is to put the door track back up, get it fitting, because it catches on that bit of the windowsill. So I've got to make sure it clears that, because otherwise it's going to jam up every time you try and open it. So let's see how we get on today. Just an update, we've had several days of rain and bitting and bobbing about without really doing a lot, but show you what I have done. Front wall's about done. Just got to come across the top of that window, work out how I'm going to do that. Above this window here, a bit more brickwork there. Then I can put the window in and seal it in. I've only sealed it in with some silicone type gobbo. Same around here on this one. These windows don't intend to be open. I don't need to have them windows. I've just got to seal a bit more across the top there. And around the outside edge. Yeah, I've got to work my way around how I'm going to finish that off yet. Be a bit of a bodge, no doubt, knowing me. But I've been, because this shed's such a mess, I've had to keep everything out of the rain. I really want to get a lot of the stuff out of the shed, like all this, because it's restricting my work. But I've took on another little project which will benefit long term again. Along the back of the shed here, I'll be been laying some concrete. Had a start yesterday. Bring that away for a minute. So I've got the first bit of it done. I want to get all of this done if I can. There's concrete up this far end here. But there's just a little overhang of the roof there. Gives me a little bit of shelter to lean things up and keep them out of the wet. I've done it up this end here. I've used this space quite a lot because it's wider. As you can see, there's an overhang there. But even that little bit there, if I put my solar panels, I could slide them back in there, that gap. And then I can stack stuff out the back here. I can put some shelving out the back here if it's stuff that I'm not bothered about it being outside. I mean, I've got chairs and things like that when we've finished the summer months. We'll put the chairs away behind here and cover them over. And it'll just free a bit more space in here because this is supposedly the workshop for me and Kaz. They're gardening bits this end and they're pottering about in that end there. So when you start a job, there's always another one that takes over or supposedly makes it easier. Now I've had a disaster with my electrics as well. All started from mixer not working one day. Then my wiring went all to cock. Excuse my French. The little consumer unit where the pipework came, the wiring came in, up the wall outside and in here. Now I've moved that because I've took the wood off there because there's some damp getting through there, there's some wet. So I've got to get on the roof and get all that tiling sealed in properly, rendered in and everything. I can't afford to have water running to the back of the wooden, because I've done a wooden ceiling in here. Try and make it cosy and insulate it a bit, but I don't want water running around the back of it, me not seeing it. So I've took that wood out. I've got to seal around the window better. There's some flashing along there, but for some reason on this bottom bit there it's found its way in and dripping down, so I'm not having that. I'm going to suss out what I need to do, but I've got to get outside to do that, and it's a bit awkward out the back here, hence another reason to doing the concrete floor, so that I've got something steady to put my ladder up. And the other thing was that I've moved that consumer unit, or fuse box, whatever you'd like to call it, this side, because this side is a lot drier and easier to get to. But my wiring skills are not very great, so I've basically cobbled up. I've got a mate coming to help me out with that at some point. These are all right. These are not connected. That's my live coming in, and I've just made a double socket so that I can have my cement mixer on that one and my radio on that one. Damp out Sunday morning. Gonna have to have a go at something. I'll just show you what I've got done so far. Take it from the outside, it'll be easier. So I've got it about sealed up there. From that side we're fully sealed. I've just got to do above the window, which is a bit of a funny shaped item because the window's not in square for starters. I haven't been able to do a full beam across there to protect it, but I basically made one out of a steel piece of reinforced roofing material, and I've put concrete in it, and then it sits, there's a beam, a wooden beam as well, which interferes with it. But all I've got to do is build it up and get it across there, and that's finished. I'm going to put my window in there, and then at some point try and hang the door again. But I really want to render the front of the wall first, so I think it might get in the way, so I might try and get on with that today if I can, or if not today, tomorrow. Again, depends on that mucky old sky whether it opens up or not. Right, I've had a problem with the electric mixer. cement mixer this morning, so I had to mix them by hand. So I've done that last section of the path now, so I don't need to worry about it. When that's all totally dried, I can start using that space again to clear a bit of this muck out the way. Now what I've done today, and again it's something new to me, that it's using these edging to render up to. Different people have suggested different things. Nails, masonry nails, or this gobbo stuff. A lot of them say pink grip, which I used to sell when I was at Craven and Nicholas before they went under and before I retired. But I went to the local Wickes's builders merchant and they didn't have any. So I've had to have a different item which they thought would do the same job. And the pink grip was very good. I only got praise from anyone who ever used that, but the one that Wickes's have tried to sell me is Grip All, which is going on similar to the way it's supposed to. And what you have to do is sort of hold the trims in place, and it should set, and then you go to it. Now I've done so you render in between these basically, but my brickwork wasn't very clever to start with, so I've tried to use them to try and square it up and make it look a bit better when it's finished. I know it's only a shed and I wouldn't normally bother at all, but learning these skills should make me a bit better at when it is important. And these are the places where you practice, aren't they? Again, there's just a little one there. You can see this window hasn't been put in square, so it's going to look a bit weird, but again I've got to try and make all these things look as neat as I can. Like I say, even if it is only an old shed, it would still look nice if it was done as good as I can make it. Now it's dinner time, and again, like I said earlier, it's a foggy old, mucky old, cold old day, and I want to come out this afternoon if I can, but I think if I'm mixing cement I'm going to have to do it by hand because the mower's gone kaput on me. Well, it keeps cutting out now. I don't know, it might be because it's been outside and there's some damp in it, because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but when it don't work it cuts out, so that tells me that there's something not right with it. I don't really want to start taking bits to have a look at it because it's been borrowed, so I'm just hoping that it is alright in itself and it's just been stood out in the damp for too long, but we'll see. Right, the following day all this edging's been put on, but that's still not set yet, and it's because of the dampness and the time of year. I think we are just come out of November, coming into December, you can't expect any different. It's another foggy day, which is obviously damp, but today I smashed the bit that was sticking out there. That was my previous window, if you remember. That wall's been built, that frame light's in ready for the other one. I'm going to I've mixed some 5:1 PVA as a sealant, so I'm only going to experiment a little bit because I haven't really done any plastering, not properly, so I intend to do those two if I possibly can. That wall and that one. Now I can't carry on today with this wall, much I'd like to, because I didn't get enough of this material, and I've got to do the inside of these windows reveals, or whatever they call them, before I can carry on there. I can do this wall because I've done that one and that one, and I can fit the glass in there, the frame, which I'm going to. I haven't done it up to yet because I've been chucking my electric cable through that window for my cement mixer, but I've messed about. I've had some problems with my electronics, my wiring, so I'll bring it out now to do it. So I'm going to put that glass in there, and then it'll help seal this room up a bit better anyway. Right, that's where we are with it at the moment. I'm going to crack on with sealing this wall, because you've got to seal it and then make the cement and put the render on while it's still tacky. But I think with the weather it is today, it's probably going to stay tacky for... We had a window in there, but I wanted that window out for another project, so I knocked the rest of the wall out there so I can put a door in, so I can get to the back of the shed a bit easier. I can go around the back of the shed here, but there's always a lot of clutter and muck. Right, moving on with this project, I've got a door. The old door I'm going to fit in there. This is a bit, needs opening up a bit more though. So I'm going to make my frame to the width and the height that I want it, and then I've got to chip out and fit into this opening. Change of plan. This door here is a lot shorter for the gap. I'm stood at here, look. Look how small that one is. But I found another one, which, if I'll stand it up, look at that one. It's taller. So I'm going to put that one on. So I'm going to make the framework. That's just propped up there, the framework. It isn't actually nailed together or anything. I'm going to get it to fit this door, which is taller. And once I've got the framework to sit on there, I can put it against the wall and then start fitting it. I've routed out a slot in here, glued it, and then I've had something drilled it. Moving on, we've got the framework in. Now I've got to get the old cement mixer going again and try and fill it in. Get the door fitted. That's another job out of the way. Right, you can see how I've toothed them out to get this framework in. Now I've got to tidy it up, fill all the gaps in around the outside, make it secure. I'm just going to show you what I've done here. I've put a wedge of wood in there, and then the cement and the brick's going to tie that in place, and then I'm going to drill through the front here to secure that in place. And I've done it 1, 2, 3 this side, and 1, 2, 3 this side. So I think I've put some blocks across the bottom to try and force the door outwards as well. I know some people will put a batten across it and screw it in place to help it, but that'll do just as well with the bricks. And that way I can get in and out the doorway over the bricks. If a lot of people put a cross beam in it and don't let you walk through the doorway, but I want to be able to get around the back if I need to. But I should just persevere along here and try and secure that doorway into place, give it a chance to dry out a couple of days, and hang the door hopefully. I'm going to do something that I've never really had a go at before. That's rendering the outside wall. I've looked at now in the YouTube channels and they're all pretty much of a likeness, but there seems to be quite a discrepancy in the mixes. With the render, the scratch coat, people are going at 4:1 and 5:1, at 6:1 even. So I thought, well, if I use the cement recommendations on the back here, mortar mixes, mixing guide by volume, a mortar mix, 1 cement, 5 builders sand, or 1 cement, 1 hydro lime, and 5 building sand. Now I think I haven't got any Hydro Lime, so I'm going to go 1 to 5. But before I do that, again, I've been out buying stuff. I've been told that I ought to have some Admix adhesive on the wall to start with, which is a bit, again, something new to me, but I'm sure I can do it. So I think what you do is dilute it, slap it on the wall, and while it's still a bit sticky, have a go at the mortar mix. So I'm being a bit wary about this, but I shall take my time with it. I've also got some corner. Now I've never used this stuff before, these corner things. Well, tell a lie, I did try a bit in there, but I wasn't very successful with it, so I've had to learn a bit more online how to go about. That's my fair thing. I have to put that up there to start with on the external corners. So that'll be stage 1 of it, and then we'll see how we go after that. Right, I've put first coat of render on there. That's what they call a scratch coat. I'm now going to attempt to level it off. There's a technical term for all that. I don't know if it's rolling it or something, but you basically try and get that as flat as you can. Then you scratch it when it's gone off a bit, and that's your first coat done. I'll better switch this off for a second. Well, I've got a bit warm up bit this morning, but I've come out and just show you close. This is my scratch coat. I've got to go and get some more edging this morning for this, and I need some more cement as well. But I'm going to, I've PVA'd the front of that to seal it. I'm going to get another lick and then going to try and get that covered. Can't do this side yet until I've got my trim in there, but it's coming on. It's coming on. Right, I've got to, because we're at the beginning of December, obviously the frosts are coming. I really want this front finished. I'm pushing it a bit now because I want to do a top coat, and then I want to paint it before I call it a day. But I've got to let it dry out a bit before I can do that. I've had mentioned before the electric problems, and now I've got a bit more room in here. I need to put some lights in, but the consumer unit, or the fuse box, whatever you like to call it, was in here, and it was wet there, and I didn't like it there, so I've repositioned it. I've been having to do some more wiring to get everything how I want it, which is taking time obviously, but we have lights in here now which had blown before. We have lights in here on separate switches. That one there, and then this one up here. Switch off because it's a bit bright at the moment. So today I've been uptown to get 1 or 2 more electrical bits. I'm going to try and put that window in here this afternoon, but I should stop pretty soon because there's going to be some more football to watch. So I'm working in the mornings when I can, and when the football starts, or half time at football, I'll call it a day because it's getting dark and cold by then. Hi, today's the 6th of December. I'm going down the yard. I've had a first bit of frost last night, but just wanted to quickly show you that my bird of paradise is starting to flower. Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. It should be coming up tomorrow if I can get it all done. I'm trying to get all this old footage tied up and finished with before Christmas. Okay, see you tomorrow.